I want to tell you about Texas radio and the big beat. It was a warm summer night with our song playing on the radio.
All right, let's say hello to Doug Clifford, better known as Cosmo, from Creedence Clearwater Revival. You remember Creedence, they had the biggest hits of the 60s. Doug, how are you today?
Just pickled pink to be here.
Whereabouts are you, Doug?
Scottsdale, Arizona.
A little warm today, isn't it?
Well, it's not bad today. It's going to be 111 tomorrow, though.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. I was at your concerts in San Bernardino years ago. I was a disc jockey at KFXM.
KFXM. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Down to the station. Yeah, hey, hey, appearing with the Creedence. Lee Michaels. At the Swing Auditorium, tickets at Lyle's Record City, Art Decor, Gillette's at Riverside, Musicland stores in San Bernardino and Riverside. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Lee Michaels putting it together live on stage September 20th. It will break your mind.
I remember that show.
Now, your nickname is Cosmo. How did that come about?
College days, they called me Clifford C. Clifford. I don't know the origin of that. But I had a background in entomology, and we lived in the animal house, and there was vermin there because we were pigs in there. Guys didn't use their trash cans, and when they did, they usually missed the shot. So we had ants and roaches, and it got to be unhealthy and just terrible. So we had a meeting, and I told them I could get rid of everything if they would get rid of the trash regularly.
I think I saw that movie.
No, well, very, very, very close. Belushi was in there somewhere. Anyway, in those days, you could buy the deadliest poison right off the hardware store shelf. So I got a gallon of this multiple DEET poison, made my little poison bombs, set them around strategically to get both the roaches and the ants. I told them it would take me about 2 weeks before it was over, and it was just about exactly that length of time, and the house was clean, and I was kind of a hero for a minute or two. And that weekend we were having a party, a toga party or something silly like that. Someone yelled out, "Hey, Clifford C. Clifford, what does the C stand for?" And before I could respond, the first hippie in the house said, "It stands for Cosmo. He's cosmic. He's a man of nature."
Hey, and it's stuck with you forever.
It has. Poop on the shoe, as it were.
Are you still working?
Yes, but I've quit touring. Stu Cook and I had a band, Creedence Clearwater Revisited, for the last 25 years, and we called it quits right when the government shut everything down. So our timing was good there.
The government shut down because of the COVID-19?
That would be the one.
Yes. You got any plans for any more shows at all, anywhere?
No more shows, but I've got an album out now, and I'm working on that, talking to folks like yourselves and doing a lot of radio and podcasts and all of that good stuff. It's kind of nice to know that I'm not going to be chasing down some airplane tomorrow and looking for a bad ride into the venue.
Or even chasing down a hoodoo there?
Oh, that too. Yeah, that's a good one.
How did you guys come up with the name Creedence Clearwater Revival?
Well, we were given the name the Gollywogs by our so-called manager and the owner of the record company. We hated it.
That name would have sunk Proud Mary.
Oh, it wouldn't have worked, for sure. But we finally got out of doing business with him, and we had 3 pages of names, and Tom Fogarty had a friend named Creedence Newball that he worked with, and that sounded kind of nice, but then we thought if we didn't name ourselves that, then he'll want a piece of the action for just using his name, so that was out. But Creedence, by definition in the dictionary, is honesty and truth, and that's what our music was all about. We weren't going to do anything like we were put through, like wearing silly outfits and being called silly names. So that part was the first part. Clearwater was a combination of environment. I was into biology and things of that nature way before it was talked about or people did anything with it. So, and then also it was part of a beer commercial, cool, clear water, and had a nice visual. Revival was a revival of ourselves. No more silly stuff. No more managers. Just play rock and roll.
There was you, Doug Clifford, Cosmo. There was John Fogerty, the lead singer, Stu Cook, the bass player, and Tom Fogerty.
Yeah.
And you guys were together making hits for how many years?
Well, not too many years making hits, but we were together for 10 years before we had any hits. And we started, at least John, Stu, and I started when we were 13. We were an instrumental trio. And Tom was in a band as a singer, and he was 4 years older than we were. And he's the one that got us into the studio and started the recording process.
Well, I remember playing Susie Q in '68 on KFXM. Then there was Born on the Bayou, I think in '69, Proud Mary, Green River, Lodi, and Down on the Corner. And I remember Bad Moon Rising and Lodi were double-sided hits. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do.
They were number one on my show on KFXM and all of KFXM, on our competitor across town, KMN 129, and also 93 KHJ in Los Angeles. That was the top of the pile.
Yeah. Well, we had several double-sided hits, and that's kind of like a Roman candle, because you're burning twice the speed of because you have a single, and then that goes up and down the charts. Then you take the other side, or what would be the B side, that goes up and down the charts. So there's that time. But when they both hit at the same time, it makes it kind of tough to keep up.
Yes.
We had 5 of those.
Really? I 5 double-sided hits.
Yeah.
Amazing. I know that Creedence Clearwater Revival was my favorite back in those days. The late 60s had a lot of folks, but couldn't beat Proud Mary. I thought that was great.
Well, that was, I got a radio story for you on that one. They had in those days song pickers, and they sold their sheets to various radio stations, usually in the secondary markets. And they would try out what was offered up from these guys. And most of the time they were right, and they had a hit, and then that went into the front line, the big stations. And he's the fellow that said Susie Q was going to be a hit, and he was right, and thank God for that. But it wasn't an original song, so on the next record, we knew we had to have an original single. And Born on the Bayou seemed to have a very similar beat that Susie Q had, and it was my favorite Creedence song to this day. And so they started playing that song, and it was a turntable hit. We got airplay, but we didn't get sales. You have to have both to go up the charts. So in his wisdom, he writes, "You've got the right record, just turn it over." Proud Mary was on the other side.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, those guys could see the future, some of those promo men that picked the hits like that. I never understood how they could do it. You know, you're working on some new music after all of these years. And you know you've got something in common with Irving Berlin?
We're both left-handed.
No.
No, I'm not left-handed, but I decided to throw that out.
He used to write songs, and he would ask his buddy, is this any good? And if his buddy said, it stinks, he'd put it in the trunk. And it would stay there forever. And one day, a lady by the name of Kate Smith came to him and said, I need a song that, it's patriotic. I need something patriotic. He said, well, I wrote a song years ago and my friends thought it was terrible, so I put it in the trunk. Let me get it for you. So he went and he gave her God Bless America, which became what it became. And I understand you have a trunk. And that's why you have something in common with Irving Berlin.
I thought it was going to be When the Moon Comes Over the Mountain, but Kate Smith, her theme song, I think. But I didn't have that, and what I had is an album that I had recorded 35 years ago, and I sort of forgot it. It was a songwriter's sort of move. I would write songs. When I would get a certain number of them, I'd go into a studio and record them, but I wanted master quality. So because you only have that first chance for the first impression, so to speak, as the cliche goes. And so I had several of these records, and they were 2-track tape, master tapes. And I had forgotten about it, and I was cleaning out my studio, and I found one of those reels, and I said, I thought I had a bunch more somewhere. And I went down to my garage where it's nice and cool and a great place to store tapes, dark, and opened the locker up where I thought they might be, and lo and behold, I found 10 reels with multiple singers, and the one thing that they all had in common is they were either written by me or co-written by me. So I was protecting my catalog, if you were. So it's called Magic Window, and it's turned out to be a real gem, and it's out on the radio right now. Oh, it's streaming. I keep forgetting. I'm in the new age. Streaming. The last time I went streaming, I had a fishing pole in my hand. So
exactly.
Well, my studio was in beautiful Lake Tahoe, and we lived 1,000 feet above the lake, and so we had a bird's eye view with this magic window. You look out, and the lake is there, all the trees, all the beauty, and I would just sit down, and my drums were set up to where I could look out the window. If I got tired of looking at the musicians, I could look at the window and get more inspiration. It's just a beautiful place to work and live. So that's the Magic Window is a real thing.
We all miss that great, distinctive Creedence Clearwater Revival sound. And Doug's got a brand new album out. It brings back lots and lots of warm memories for us. So let's give it a listen. Doug Cosmo Clifford's Magic Window.
Another girl. How was I to know then you would change my whole world? Put your loving arms around me
It's great. That brings back, that has the flavor, the sound of the,
Mhm.
that's great. Very nice.
Appreciate it.
Creedence Clearwater Revival set the all-time attendance record at the Swing Auditorium in 1969, I remember. You guys packed it up that night.
You were rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Well, this has been really nice, Doug. It's a pleasure. You know, you never know. For us, some of us are more sentimental than others. And I sit here in my old age and look back on those days and go, my God, I should have appreciated them more when they were actually happening.
Well, you're too busy. You're too busy being in the middle of it, and that's in the now is where you want to be. So you did it justice.
Well, it's a pleasure to be able to have talked to you.
My pleasure.
You're on the top of my list of music of the 60s. I loved Creedence Clearwater Revival. I played you on the radio every day.
Well, it was radio that made us happen. We were on a jazz label, an obscure jazz label, I might add. You know,
Really?
in the middle of San Francisco, they knew nothing about rock and roll except one thing: rock and roll bands or records sold a lot and made a lot of money, and that was their premise for the whole thing. We'll get a rock and roll band and they'll make us rich. Well, they didn't know what to do with us once we had product. And it was, you know, guys like Bill Drake, the guy that I mentioned earlier with the song sheets and whatnot, guided us into radio, and great radio has taken the ball ever since. And it's been 52 years now where it's radio that's kept us alive. So thank you to all the radio that is out there.
Well, thank you, Doug Clifford, for the memories of our life. Thank you.
My pleasure, boys. Bye-bye.
It was a